So we looked at the 14-inch X14 Pro from Geekom, the laptop. It's so lightweight. There's also a 16-inch model. Now the 16-inch model weighs less than most 14-inch laptops. So if you've ever been like, I want a big laptop because I like to have a big screen, but I don't like the fact that they weigh so much more, well, this might be something to think about. It's got a couple of rough edges, but a lot of those are stuff that I think can be fixed with software, which makes me really excited because I think with a couple future updates, this will be like the perfect laptop. And at this price and at this weight, it's hard to complain about a lot of those things. I always use OEM keys. I grab them over at whokeys.com. This is the price you're going to pay for Windows 11 Pro if you get a retail key. Let's check those prices on whokeys.com. $30, we can do better. Put in TS25, click apply. There we go, $23.22. You got Windows 11 Pro, Windows 11 Home, Windows 10 Home, and we have a couple different flavors of LTSC. 2021 gets updates until 2027, and the 2021 IoT edition gets updates until 2032. Also, if you're sick of paying that monthly fee for Office, you can get an offline version of Office. They've got 2019 and 2016. 2016 will get most people by, in my opinion. You can also use the coupon code TS25 on these to save 25% on this as well. Let's go ahead and check out with our copy of Windows 11 Pro. All right, just put in my card info. There we go. Click on View Keys and Codes. Once you get to the User Center, click on Get the Key. You'll see your key right here in the middle. Go ahead and highlight that, copy that, press Start, and then type Activate. You'll see Activation Settings. Go ahead and click on that. And then right here it says Not Active. Just click on Change Product Key. Paste in our product key, and then click on Activate. Hey, look at that. Active. Head over to whokeys.com. Thanks to them for sponsoring. And now on to our regularly scheduled program. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at the GeekBook X16 Pro. Now, again, it's a 16-inch laptop and it features the Intel U5. You can get it in two different varieties with the U5 125H or the U9 185H. Now, I've got the U9 185H, 32 gigabytes of LPDDR5 memory that's soldered on, and we also have a 2 terabyte hard drive on the inside. It's an M.2 and it's quite fast, as you'll see when we do a test on that. Now, how much does it weigh and how thick is it? It's 0.27 inches thick and it weighs 2.8 pounds. Full-on beautiful CNC unibody design, magnesium alloy, which makes it even lighter than aluminum. It's so ridiculous. When you pick it up, it just feels like, how? So yeah, it's extremely premium, and it also has a soft touch coating on there. When you move your hands about, it's nice and smooth because magnesium, it's a little bit rough, but got the soft touch coating, you're good to go. As far as the processor and stuff, the Intel Ultra 9 185H is nothing to sneeze at. And plus we also have the ARC graphics, which will allow us to play a lot of modern games. And it's not like AAA quality gaming here. This is not strictly a gaming laptop, but I was surprised you can actually play a lot of games on it. So for me, I think it's going to service 999% of what I want to do because I don't really care about modern new games. I was going to say 99%, but I was like, never mind. Like every game that I've played recently will play beautifully on this. I'm in the other room right now, got paused Thimbleweed Park, and I was playing Ultima Underworld earlier. So because those are the good games, it'll play all of the good games and none of the microtransaction slop games. So let's put it that way. Now, the Intel Ultra U9 185H that we have here has 16 cores, 22 threads, a lot of big cores. I'll do the breakdown when we get in and take a look at hardware info. You got 24 megs of cache and a 5.1 gigahertz boost clock, up to 33 tops when it comes to your MPU performance as well. If you want to run some local large language models, you can get by with like 8 to 10 billion, whatever that stuff means. Yeah, you can run some of those as well. The U5 125H, 14 cores, 18 threads. The turbo on that is 4.5 and the cache is 18 megabytes. So on their website, they advertise silent power because of course everyone always talks about this stuff, but it does get loud when you're running in performance mode. However, there's the difference between performance and quiet mode. When you're playing games, it's like 15, 20 FPS depending on what's going on. It's a decent bit of a difference, but with the CPU power, it's very similar. So I ran this in quiet mode pretty much all the time because I don't like loud fans. They get like the little word, sounds like a tiny little airplane taking off. All right, the display, another beautiful 16 by 10 display. I love 16 by 10 monitors. It gives us that extra little bit of space on the bottom, which I like. And it's not 1080p, it's 2560 by 1600. On the X14, you do have that OLED. It's like 2880, whatever. It's like a higher resolution. So that one does look a little bit better. However, having a bigger screen is it's just easier to see. So I kind of like having this bigger screen when it comes to doing things like video editing or whatever else. It's also 120 hertz refresh rate. Above and beyond that, It's 100% of the sRGB gamut, so it is a beautiful screen. We also have 2 down-firing speakers, and the fact that they're down-firing speakers means that they have a little bit more bass because it's bouncing the sound off of your desk. You know, it's not like I would use that instead of a set of headphones, but for a laptop, they sound really good. The keyboard is also really pretty, and we have some extra buttons, including physical buttons for home and page up and page down, which we didn't have with the X14. You had to use the function buttons for all that. We do have also that embarrassing Copilot button, which really is just another button you can remap, especially if you're in Linux, just use keyed or whatever, and remap that stupid Copilot button, because no one is using Copilot, right? There's no one using Copilot. That's the rules. The power button up on the top is also a fingerprint scanner, and the power button is separated from the keyboard. It's a separate spot. The battery, 77 watt hours, and that will power this for, they say, up to 17 hours of continuous use, depending on what you're doing. And if you're playing games, cut that down a little bit, but yeah. It also comes with this tiny 65 watt GAN charger. Same charger that they gave us with the X14 Pro. These are tiny. They're like the size of a charger you would get with a cell phone, but they're gallium nitride, so they don't get as hot, and it's safe to have a tiny little charger like this. So, and it's USB-C, which is nice. All right, let's go through all the ports on this unit. So on one side, we've got our 3.5 inch, that's a big audio jack, a 3.5 millimeter audio jack. It's a headphone microphone combo port. We got 2 USB 2.0 Gen 1, and those are Type A. Then we have a micro SD card slot. Flipping it around to the other side, we have USB 3.2, it's Type C. And then we have HDMI 2.1. It'll be 2.0, I think, if you're using Linux. And then that's because Linux doesn't have the rights to use things because the USB group is, the HDMI group are evil. And then we have a USB-C, it's Type 4, and that's 40 gigabits per second, which can also be another monitor output. So the USB in the back right there, if you want to use a dongle, it does. If you get a dongle that supports like power through the dongle, that also will give you data. So it's not just charging the one in the back. It's USB 3.2 Type C. You know, decent amount of ports. And with the 16-inch, I like the fact that we have 2 USB Type A. That's just extra handy. Makes me feel like I'm not going to need a dongle unless I want a physical US or physical Ethernet port. So the other thing about Geekom, and one of the reasons why I was really excited they were making laptops, is because they test the hell out of these things. 1,000 hours of testing on this one with their little computers. They do like 300 different tests or something. It's kind of ridiculous. All right, now you might see that there's a little camera on the top of webcam. It's a 2 megapixel webcam, gets the job done, and there is a physical switch on top that covers the webcam so that you won't have any spying eyes looking at you. And that's nice to just have the physical switch to block it off. You're not going to have to put any tape on there or anything. It's right there for you. We also have an integrated mic. It's 2 digital mics actually integrated with the camera, so you can have stereo, I guess, if you wanted to. Let's talk about that touchpad. So it's a pretty big touchpad, 135 by 90 millimeters, made out of Mylar. Feels really, smooth. And we do have some physical clicking going on at the bottom. You can tap, on there. I never liked doing that. So here we are running a stress test, and you can see our core temperatures are nice and cool, and that's because the fans are screaming. It's weird. When I first opened the program, it said 104. Like when I just first opened it. I don't know why, not seeing it go up that high. This test has been running for almost an hour, and it's staying at 70 degrees, and I'm running this on the performance mode. But this program is nice and easy. You got performance, balance, and power savings mode. And so this will really help you if you're just wanting to hang out and you don't want the fans to be going crazy. Put it in power saving mode. But let's go ahead and scroll down and just see that's too cool. Like the fans don't need to be this loud on performance mode. Those fans are just cooking right now. So let's scroll on down here and take a look and just see what's going on with the core wattage is right there, 35, 36 watts. All right, my ears are screaming right now. 51.3. It's really loud. Like I said, it's running cool, so I don't know why they have the fans cranked up that high. So yeah, let's go ahead and put it on balance and see what that's like. I'm going to keep it on the power saving mode, and then we'll just see what happens when we run a little bit of a test here. Oh, there we go. So as more heat builds up, it's starting to limit the CPU power right there. So that's what it's doing. It's basically prioritizing noise and power saving, keeping everything under a certain wattage. And this is still really nice and cool because we're not using anywhere near as much power. It's very quiet. Since we still got the temperatures open, let's take a look at our M.2 performance, and it is extremely fast. Check that out. Over 7,000 on the read and 6455 on the write. When it comes to the IOPS, ridiculous. So yeah, this is a very fast drive. It's going to feel extremely snappy. During the tests, it never got hotter than 62, probably because those fans were kicking up pretty good. So it runs really cool. It's idling right now at 39. As far as our overall system layout goes, let's take a look. We got the Core Ultra 9 185H right there, 6 cores, 12 of these are the performance cores, 6 cores, 12 threads, and then down here we got the E-cores 8+2, 24 megabytes of L3 cache right there, and then we've got our quad channel memory, 32 gigabytes of that, and it's the soldered on LPDDR5 memory. There's our Intel Arc, and then you got the MPU in there as well. Our Wi-Fi 6E is MediaTek MT7922. I've also got a USB dongle from Geekom plugged up, so that's what that is, just a gigabit Realtek adapter. As far as our drives, we got a Micron Crucial. Oh, rest in peace, Micron Crucial. So yeah, there's that on the inside. All right, let's have a look here, starting off with Valley, and yeah, this one's a little bit faster, so they must have it tuned a little bit crazier. It's a little bit faster than the X14 Pro. You can see here on 1080p, we've got a score of 82.7 FPS. Now, this is running at 1080p, not the resolution of the screen. So I'll do another test with the full resolution in just a minute when we do like actual gaming, but I'm doing this at 1080p because this is not something you're going to be playing on this machine, and I want to be able to compare it to all the other machines that I've tested. So score 3461, this is looking good. In other Unigen news, I like to run superposition because it taxes the GPU and the CPU both really well. And this one also, again, really good performance here, 42.27, minimum of 37.10. 5651 is our overall score. And here's another test on the quiet mode. So you can see it's restricting some of the power going to the CPU and the GPU, and we're getting 62 FPS in Unigen Valley. So for a lot of people, this is going to be fine. It's going to be fine for indie gaming. It's going to be fine for most of your general computing use. I would only turn on power mode when you're willing to have those fans loud and you need, the extra power for rendering or whatever. But I think this is going to be plenty for a lot of people because this is still a pretty good score, and I can do a lot of the stuff that I want to do, but you let me know what you think. So interestingly, on the low setting here, it's a little bit slower than the X14 Pro. Not sure why, but we got 27.6 FPS. So this is not something I would be using for AAA gaming. Now, I'm running this at 1080p. Another thing that's weird is the balance mode I've got it on right now was actually a few FPS faster than the performance mode in that game. I tested both because couldn't figure out what was going on. So a little inconsistent there when I changed these back and forth, but it's also quieter on balance mode. So, okay, quieter and faster. Oh, sure, why not? All right, CPU productivity. So the single core performance on this is really nice because we have those, big fat cores, we'll call them. And the efficiency cores do the multi-threading stuff in the background. So we got a bunch of those. And as you can see here, our single core score is way up here at the top. These are not current CPUs, so it's a good score. 1752. And then the multi-core does come down just a little bit because of all the efficiency cores. We just got a lot of stuff going on. So it's, approaching Threadripper. Not quite, but, I'd say it's a pretty good score. 12, 8, 48, and 1752 on the single core. When it comes to the Geekbench tests, well, we've got 24, 12 on the single core, and 12, 5, 27 for the multi-core. Roll on down here. Here's all the individual tests. Pause if you need to see anything in particular. And our OpenCL score is 41,022. Nice and high because we got all them fancy, graphics card things going on in there. Scroll down so you can see all the individual tests. All right, so that's the physical overview. It's sleek and it's lightweight. And 32 gigabytes of RAM at this price, I think a lot can be forgiven. So Geekom, if you can give us maybe a little bit better fan control, I would love to be able to go in and create my own fan curve because I think we could run this a little bit hotter and a little bit quieter and get a little bit more performance out of it. So, running it like 70 or close to 80 is fine. The fans blow so much when you have it on, like when you turn it up and you want to do stuff. It keeps it, in my opinion, too cool. So let me make it a little bit warmer. I know that's a weird request, but I want this to be a little bit warmer. I'm okay with that. I know it's probably better to keep it cooler, but I would rather it be quieter and die an early death. I don't know. I'm really weird about this. I like quiet laptops. And running it on quiet mode is an option, but if I could have it faster, I'll take it. So after this, I'm going to make a video comparing the X14 and the X16. I'll give you a quick preview. The main difference is the screen in the two, and then the other difference would be the keyboard and everything. But we'll talk about that. The battery's a little bigger on this one as well. I guess the last thing I'll mention is some games you can play this at half resolution and get much more performance. But it doesn't quite look as good as the 14-inch screen, because the 14-inch screen is 2880 by, it's more of a standard resolution. Half of this resolution, 2560 by 1600, you're going to have to go in and do that custom in games. A lot of games don't have that. Like, for instance, Cyberpunk didn't have that. Anyway, yeah, I think we've talked about this enough. It's so close to perfect, just like the X14, so close to perfect. If it was a little bit less loud and had a few more controls in that regard, yeah, the keyboard layout on this one I like better because we have physical keys for things. Ultimately, I do hope that they make an AMD in this kind of a body, or one of the new Intel CPUs that just came out, but that would be so much more expensive. It's hard to argue at this price. It's really, really hard to argue at this price. I mean, one of the sleekest, most well-designed laptops at a price that's kind of ridiculous for how much it weighs and what it can do. So yeah, I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to use this one or the X14, but it'll be one or the other, I believe. Anyway, that's it. Let me know what you think of the Geekom X16 Pro. Coming up soon, the X16 versus the X14. Which one's going to be good for you? We'll break it down and make sure you get the one that has the features that you need. I'm also, throwing Linux on there, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the ease of use of the keyboard. We'll talk about the screen. We'll talk about the performance. So stay tuned for that one coming up very soon. See you in the comments.